Ah. Alright, uh, here's some pentatonic scales from someone who knows what you've already been playing, because I'm sure there's a lot of pentatonic tutorials on the YouTube. This might help. You've got above me here Nepenthes Sumatra, little Venus flytrap. Sarracenia rubensis. Anyway, I'm done with that. So here is a pentatonic scale with some baby pictures in the background. You should look at this on like a tab or something. We will start with an A pentatonic, A major pentatonic scale, which will start at the 5th fret right here. And it just goes up like this. So super basic. You will start to notice pretty quickly that, hey, that first chord in Stairway, it's actually a part of the pentatonic scale, which the reason that's true is because you've got that note right here on the 7th fret, and then the 3 straight across on the top on the 5th fret, which all happen to be part of that scale, which if you were to play all the notes goes. So Stairway starts out with a couple chords, that first one, and then that gets into a minor, so we won't go there yet. But that first one is very, there's you texting me, very pentatonic, very identifiable. Some other things, let's think, that we maybe have played. The intro to Whole Lotta Love is pentatonic, but that's not actually in the same first position that we're looking at today, but it still gives you an idea of that, like the way they all relate, right? Because this is actually the very end of an E pentatonic scale. But that same idea, which is that, hey, like, you've got a root note, and then you just go up like a natural third from there, and then back down, back up. What else about pentatonic scales? One cool thing, I'm literally only going to play a scale, nothing else. I didn't add any notes that aren't in your basic pentatonic scale. Already sounds pretty fancy. But what you have to kind of practice doing at first is just playing up it. And once you get there, once you've kind of got it on a screen and you're looking at it, you can do things like go, hey, I'm going to get a little fancy, I'm going to repeat some notes, you know, maybe just a, and like just play those first 2 strings, and you can just see what you could do with those, because once you know what a scale is, you can kind of naturally intuit rhythm, and I'm sure you know that from, or naturally intuit melody, from playing violin. But it's really cool once you realize that, where you just go, hey, I know that on the first string it's the 5th fret and then the 8th fret, and then on the second string it's the 5th fret and the 7th fret. And you can just all day just kind of and that's just 2 strings. It's not a lot to remember. You can throw some in there, get a little funky. And then you can do the same thing, go up where it's even simpler. It's literally just 5-7 and 5-7, and just. And all you're doing is a little bit of bending. So scales are a great way to work on all of those little things we've kind of thrown in there in songs. And again, you could go up the next 2 strings, which are also just 5 and 7. And go, I can actually get used to this. And First position pentatonic is super easy to memorize, and once you have it memorized, you can slide it anywhere. I'm going to slide down to an F pentatonic, which starts on the first fret. And you'll hear like the relationship between the chord and its corresponding scale. Or you can slide way up to a D and and then you play that D power chord. You're like, that sounds pretty like a part of it, because it is. And then you've got Led Zeppelin songs. We're just sticking with the theme until you tell me someone else to stick with, like Black Dog. Is that what it is? Yeah. Okay. We won't go through that quite yet, but you'll find that the majority of that riff is inside of this A pentatonic scale that we're talking about. It adds one note, and I don't want to confuse you too much, but it does add that 6th fret right there, and that's a classic blues modification. You'll see as soon as you start Googling pentatonics that there are a lot of modified versions, minor blues, Nixolidian. There's all kinds of crazy scales. Just learn the bones first. We'll maybe look at second position real quick too, because it's also super memorable. So you've got and then from there you've got just I'm sorry, fretboard here. So we were here at 3 and 6. Now I'm just going to slide down so that I'm starting at 6 and go. And then go back down to 3 just to feel that nice ending. Getting long-winded here. But it always makes a little more sense if someone knows what you've played and then tries to get into it. So I would say the Whole Lotta Love intro will get you close. The Stairway thing, it should sound like it makes sense. And Stairway is very much in that key, because you'll notice that, hey, the first note, that A on the 7th fret, is the same root note as our. And once you start to notice these little patterns, it's just like anything else, like noticing Moros and Mraz. You're like, things are starting to make sense in the world. So without going into too much of why that is, because guitar scales the scales aren't complicated, but the way the fretboard fits together is. And we won't go there yet. We will think about some songs that can incorporate little riffs like that. Let me know if you have any in mind. I would say play around with this scale. Let's just stick with the A major pentatonic because it's nice and central on the fretboard. And get comfortable just doing stuff like, little repeats, not even skipping around, not even a whole lot of crazy stuff, but just not going all the way through it up and down. Because you start to feel like a 5-year-old learning how to play a classical instrument, and I don't think anyone wants that. Maybe you do. That should be all for now. I've managed to sit here and talk to a computer screen for almost 10 minutes. Any other obvious stuff? Not now. Get comfortable fiddling around with pentatonic, and I'll be thinking of a good song that uses a straight pentatonic scale and only the first and second positions to teach you soon. Alrighty.